Hey, what's up? It's Joe back with the continuation of the Lambda course. This will be the third video in this course. In the first video, we touched on what is a Lambda. We set up a free tier account. We created some users in the group. We discussed some limitations. We wrote some code in the AWS editor. We also installed the AWS CLI, which is used to do some configurations and some other stuff. And we also installed the AWS SAM CLI, which is used to run the Lambda locally, as well as be able to push the Lambda up to the AWS server. In the second video, we touched on the AWS SAM Webpack plugin, which is a great plugin, and you use that to get everything set up to work with TypeScript. You could do this without using this plugin, but this plugin makes it way easier to get everything set up. So I actually love this plugin. I wish I would actually wrote it, but I didn't, but I still like it a lot. And so we had to install some packages. We had to do the tsconfig. We had to set up the YAML file and all that good stuff. And we also, in the second video, we touched on some secure string parameters using the AWS parameter store. And with that, you can actually have parameters that you can go and pull down using AWS SDK, and you don't have to have those keys stored inside of your actual code. You just use the SDK to be able to go in and get them by names and pull that information down. So if you're not familiar with any of this stuff, then you may want to go back and watch my first and or second video just to get up to speed. And then once you get up to speed, come on the way back over here and we can just keep on going through this part here. And because when I go through this part, I'm going to assume that you already know all of the previous stuff. So if you get confused, it's probably because you need to go back and watch the other videos. Got it? Okay. So in this video, we're going to touch on using the secure string parameters, like the parameter store again. We're going to take it a little bit deeper. So we're going to have some keys for these different APIs, because there's a MovieDB API that I'm going to use, and there's a Rapid API that I found, and I'm going to use one of their free movie APIs for that as well. So what we're going to do is build a Lambda, right? So think of this one Lambda, and then this Lambda is going to be able to decide if it wants to use the MovieDB API or if it wants to use the Rapid API. Okay, that sounds weird, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. So it decides which API it wants to use. So once it does that, it's going to just have everything set up already in the Lambda. So when it makes that decision based on whatever is in the parameter store, then it's also going to be able to call that API and have the tokens that it needs, also pulling that from the parameter store. And then from what I've read and from what I've been told, using the parameter store is very well. I've read that people prefer to use that instead of you doing process environment variables or any other way, because they're saying the parameter store is very secure. And so I'm just going to go with that. All right. So with that being said, if you're liking these videos, please go ahead and subscribe, and do not forget to hit that bell to get those notifications. I will greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, let's just go ahead and get started. Alright, so this might be a little of a long video, so let's try to move as quick as we can. If you have any questions, say them to the end. Not like I will hear you anyway, but you can always put the questions down in the comments, okay? So one of the APIs we're going to use is the MovieDB. So it's just basically this. It just returns some information, returns a bunch of results, and I'm just going to worry about the ID as well as the title, okay? And I also have this token that uses a bearer token. And then this is a token I have saved under my local environment that I'm not going to show you because I actually use this outside of this tutorial, so I don't want to give it away. All right. And then this is just the URL, and it just has a query. You can put in whatever you want to search for different things. All right. And then this is the Rapid API. Okay. It sounds so weird when I say that. And it kind of has the same thing. It has a search here, and then the name, whatever you want to search for. And then we have some keys in here as well. We have the Rapid API host and a Rapid API key, which we're going to save all of that in the parameter store. Excuse me. And it returns the results like this. And I'm just going to worry about the title and the ID. Okay. So I already have the parameter store set up. Some of these may look familiar if you watch my last videos, because I was doing some testing and stuff like that. I look really bright. I think I have this light extremely bright, but we're just going to go with it. Okay. So we have the Rapid API key, the Rapid API host, MovieDB token, and the API type. Those are the 4 things we're going to use. As you can see, these 3 here are secure, so they're encrypted. And then this one here is just an empty string, and then like just a regular string because I don't really care who sees it. It just determines if I'm going to use the Rapid API or if I'm going to use the MovieDB. All right. So now we have that all out the way. Let's get to coding because that's what we want to see, right? That's what we came here for. So we left off in the second video with the local hello world again and again working. What we want to do is just make sure that we can still have that working. All right. So let's just do npm run watch. All right. And let's open up a new terminal. And here we're going to say, do this. All right. Ask for my password. Again, all this stuff was going over in previous videos. So if you're not following along, that's probably why. Already in use. What do you mean it's already in use? No, it's not. Let me just close out of here. Don't know what just happened there, but maybe I was testing something else, so that's fine. Now it should not be in use. All right, I'm telling you, it's not in use. I got this. All right, okay. So let's go ahead and start that back up again. So we're gonna do npm run watch. This is just gonna be Webpack watching the files. And then we're going to open up a new terminal and just say, use SAM to start the API locally. For some reason, I can't talk and type my password at the same time, but I can do a lot of other stuff while I talk. I don't know why I said that, but it's true. All right, so here we're going to actually do the localhost 3000. And we're just going to say hello, right? Just to make sure we still have it working, which does hello world again and again. So now that we have that working, we're back to where you left off at with everything working outside of all the other crazy stuff that I said. We're going to try to set up a movies Lambda as well. So we're just going to go ahead and do something like this. Go to the source, we list it, there's nothing there. So we're going to say make directory movies, then change to that directory. And then once we're done with that, we're going to just create a app.ts file. And then now that we have that, if we refresh, we have the TS file, although it's empty, but that's fine. So we need to update this YAML, okay? So right here, we have the hello world function. So why don't we just copy that and then use that to create the movies function, all right? So we'll just call this movies, and then here we just say movies. All right, here we're gonna say movies. That's gonna be the endpoint, and then it's gonna be a get. And I think everything else is fine, right? Because it's in the movies. Yeah, right. That's good. Okay. Only thing left is we need to actually just copy what we have from the hello world and then paste it into the movies app.ts. All right. So just to make sure that we're in the right one, let's just say, oops, this is the movies Lambda, all right? So what I want to do is just to make sure everything runs correctly, I'm going to go ahead and stop all of the things that we have running for the services. So I'm going to stop the Webpack from running, as well as stop the SAM from running, just to make sure that, you know, everything works fine. So now that we have that, let's just start the Webpack back. And let's just start the SAM back, okay? And now if we go here, since we have that, let's see if it worked. Yes, this is the movies Lambda. So that's good. We're getting somewhere. All right. So that's like not even halfway done, but we're getting somewhere, right? Okay. So now we have that working. Let's go back to this file. So what we want to do is actually get the parameters, because we have all of these different parameters in the parameter store. Okay. The API type and then these three. So we want to get those. So what we need to do is use the get parameters. So if you watched my last video, I did one where I just got one parameter, but this time I'm going to get multiple parameters. And then what it's going to return, once I do this, I'll write it in, I'll show you in the code. Well, what it's going to return is an array well, parameters is going to be an array of objects. And the object's going to have name, type, value, version, and so on and so on and so on. What I really care about is name and value. But what I'm going to do is, to start off with, to show you what it's returning, I'm going to just do name and type. Reason being is I don't want to show you the value because I actually use the movie database. And if I show you the value, then I'm going to show you my key. And then why would I give you my key? Oh, it wouldn't make any sense. But eventually I will change it to value once I stop showing you what it's returning and then use it the correct way. Okay. So now we're all following that. Let's go ahead and get some parameters. All right. So let's just create a file. We can call it, probably not the best name because that's what it's called in AWS. So I don't want to confuse anybody, but this one I'm going to call it in here. Why? Because I just feel like it. Why not? All right. I'll say, okay, so now we're here. We have the parameter store. And then what I want to do is import SSM. This is also something we did in the previous tutorials. Import SSM from AWS SDK. All right. And we're going to create an instance of this. Okay. Then we're going to get the parameters. So let's say get parameters equals, it's going to be an async function. All right. And let's go ahead and paste what we had. Oops. All right. So this came out of here. Somewhere here. Yeah, this thing. All right. So let me explain what's going to happen here. So I'm going to say constant params. This is going to be all the different params that I have here. So I'm going to just start off API type, MovieDB token, rapid API host, and rapid API key. All right. So let's just do this and do this. And then, all right. So API, what do I call it? API type. MovieDB token, rapid API host, rapid API key. Let's just make sure those are right. API type, MovieDB token, rapid API host, rapid API host, rapid API key, rapid API key. All right, so those are all good. So now that we have that, we're going to say decryption is going to be true, even though not all of these are encrypted, because not all of them are secure. I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. And then once it's not secure, it seems like it just returns it regardless. So I don't have to do like two separate ones to account for some being secure and some not. All right. So get parameters. What I'm going to do is, which is probably not good, but I'm not going to worry about all the error handling and all of that stuff right now. And then this, so that I have intelligence because of the Typescript, I'm just going to go to the promise. All right. So I'm actually going to wrap this. All right. And let's say put a return there. And then we get the parameters. Okay. So now if I were to return this, currently it'll bring back an array of objects with all of those values. So it has like the name, the value, the type, and all the other stuff I said. But again, like I said before, I don't want to give you my values. So what I'm going to do is just say const response. All right. Equals that. All right. And then I'm going to say return response.map, because I only want to give you certain things. We'll let you see certain things for now. Just going to do the name and the type. And we're just going to do the same thing. Oops, that's not the same thing. Name and type. All right. And it's probably complaining about some types, I'm sure. Got that part done. And then probably going to say that it can be undefined, which it can. Oops, let me do something just in case that's undefined. And so now we have to get parameters, and let me just export this just for now, just so you can see Probably gonna export it anyway, but at least you can see what's happening right here. So when I actually do this, this is gonna return an array with all of those different names and their types. Okay, so now if I go back to this parameter store, I'm sorry, the app.ts, I can say let's just call this params, just say get params. All right, and let's just import that, and then params, just gonna say something like this, just so we can see what's happening. Just double check, make sure I'm only returning the type and not the value. So now if I go to here, let's see if it worked. And it's empty. Why is it empty? Oh, I see. This is an async function, so I should be awaiting. All right, because now it's just going to keep going past this line before it even gets back any result. So now that I have that, this should return back something. Hopefully. Perfect. So I have the API type, MovieDB token, rapid API host, rapid API key. Pretty much all these different things here that I wanted. Those three and that one. All right. So the weird thing is it has like type, because why are we returning type? But that's fine for now. But what I don't like is the way that it's set up. What I really want for me is I want it to be like an object where it has like something like this. I want something to look like this. Oops. I want it to be like API type, and then whatever that value is, then rapid API, whatever it's called, and then whatever that value is. Like, that's the kind of object that I want. I don't want this kind of object. I don't like it. So to get something like that, I just leave that there for now so I can kind of reference it, even though it's going to give me errors, but that's fine. Constant to object equals, I'm going to take, where am I at right here? I'm in the wrong file, actually. Go here. All right. So I want something like that. So constant to object, and then we're going to take some params. It's going to be an array, and we're going to return an object. So first, let's just create an empty object. And then let's actually loop through or iterate over the params, because it is an array. And what we can do is pull out the name and the type. Okay. And then we can say object and then that name. So we're attaching the name to the object on each iteration. And then that is going to equal the type for now. All right. And it's just going to return the object. Okay. And then there's the two objects. So now if I do that, I can get rid of this. Okay. And I can get rid of this stuff because this is nonsense. All right. So now that I have that name and a type, my result here should have a different format. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. So I have like API type, MovieDB token, rapid API host, rapid API key. Again, this will actually be real values. Right now it's just doing the types. Okay. So now that I have that, let's actually go ahead and try to get some movies. Let's start with the MovieDB. Let's use that one first. Okay. So let's just create a new file. And we're just going to call it GetMovies.ts. All right. So in here, we need to install ACOS, that package. So let's just go ahead and do that. Let's say npm install ACOS, save. All right, cool. Oh, what am I doing here? Yeah, so that's save. So now what I can do is say import 1 second. Cheers. That's good. Lost my train of thought. But so we're gonna import ACOs from ACOs. Okay. And now that we have that, we actually need to write a function to get movies. So let's say get movies DB, get movies DB equals, it's going to be async again because we're using ACOs. Going to have some params in there, I'm assuming, because we need to know what the params are to be able to use. I got water on my keyboard. That sucks. We also need to get some options. That's in options equals. Let's do some in TypeScript here. So I think it's ACOs. Excuse me. Request equals. All right. So now that we have that, let's just see what we get here. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. So we need the URL. I'm just showing the different properties for this. So URL, the method, I want that. Base URL, I don't need that. I don't need any of this stuff. I do need the header. So I'm just going to use those three: URL, method, and headers. Just go back here. So that's it. URL. And the URL is going to be this. Right now it's hard coded to be World War Z. That will change later. All right. I said method, right? And it's going to be a get. Let's just capitalize that. And then I said headers. And then that's going to be another object. And what do we need here for the headers? So I have the authorization, which is a bearer token. I'm going to need that. And then also the content type application JSON, right? So let's say authorization, AUTHORIZAT. My spelling is so funny. Authorization, which is going to be a bearer token, if I spelled that correctly. All right. We'll plug that in later. And then I'm going to need the content type of application JSON. Why? Oh yeah, you're complaining because I haven't put anything in here yet. So before I get too far, let's go create some types to make this a little bit easier to deal with. So let's just go back here into the parameter store. So these are all the different params I have. So what I can do is, what can I do here? I can do an enum. Yeah, export enum. What do I want to call it? Param names, params, param names, or names, whatever. It's going to say API type. It's going to be API type, right? And then movie, whatever that was, is going to be the same. And then rapid host is going to be rapid host. And then rapid key is going to be the rapid key. All right. That is wrong. This should be equals. All right. Okay, so I have that. And then now that I have that, I can actually go ahead and change this inside of here. So I can just say eparamnames.api, eparamnames.movie, eparamnames.rapid, and then eparamnames.rapid again, whatever it's called. I got a host, so I need the key. Okay. All right. Those are all my different names, so that makes it easier. So it's still not giving me what I want, because what I initially came here for was to create some kind of interface or type for this so I can get some intelligence. Hopefully this works. So let's see, what if I did something like export interface, let's call it iparams MovieDB, I guess. And what we can put in here is say eparams names.movie dot, and then just say, I think this can work like this. I think so. Let's see. I don't remember if I can do this in TypeScript. I hope I can. Iparams. Alright, so it installed that. That's not what I wanted. Why is it not giving me the correct IntelliSense? So apparently I did something wrong here. And I know I can do it like this way. I thought I could do it the other way. I was trying to save on retyping it, but maybe it doesn't work that way. Let's do it for this way for now. At least we know that works. I still thought that would work. Why did it not work? If I just did this, that won't work though. No, I didn't think so. All right, whatever. I'm just gonna do this for now, because I don't want to be trying to figure this out all night. All right, so I have a type for that, and then now this is going to be the value. But let me make sure I actually changed that to value, because I don't remember if I changed it. So I need to change this to be value now, because now I want to actually use the value. All right, so I'm not using the type anymore. I'm using the actual value. And then when I go into here, I'm going to say return await, because this is Axios is a promise. Axios, then options dot then, and let's say response, then response dot data. All right, and then let's just export this so that can stop complaining. All right, let's go back to here, and then in here we're not going to show our parameters anymore, because then I'll show you what the values are. I'm just going to say const let's just say results equals, what is it called? Get movies? No, I don't remember what I called it. Oh, get, but it's a lowercase, movies db, and pass in the params. Let's import that. Okay, so the results is currently not being used. Let's just go ahead and use that. All right, let's see if I broke anything. Let's make sure I'm not returning the actual value, so I don't show you name value, but I'm not actually showing it here. All right, that should be good. See if this works, or if I broke it. It's possible that I broke it. Well, it's not that bad. Oh yeah. I need to await. Have to remember to await. You have to await for these promises. I promise to await. I promise. There we go. Now we're getting something. Okay, so that's good. We're getting something. We're getting our MovieDB result set, which is what I wanted. All right. So what I also want to do is do one for the other one. So let's just copy this and just paste it. And oop, no, I messed up something. Did I? Okay, that's good. All right, so let's call this one Get Movies Rapid API. All right, or something. And then we need to create one for here. So let's go ahead and go back in here. And since my I don't even know if I needed this enum since this is not allowing me to do what I want, but whatever. All right, so I have these, and I just need to change this to iparams rapid. Okay. That's fine. All right. So here, this is going to change to iparams rapid, right? So that just got inserted up there, and then here, this is going to change. So this is a different URL. All right. Again, it's hard coded at World War Z. We'll change that later. We are going to get rid of that because we don't need that, but we do need this. And it's going to say params dot, that'll be the host. And it's already proven that my I'm getting the correct values, because if I wasn't getting the correct values from the parameter store, this GetMovies database, GetMovies function would have not worked, because I wouldn't have the right token. Okay. So here we're going to say key. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, right. And it's going to just call this key. All right. So now, if we were to do something like this, so now if we do this, we should get the Rapid API if I did it correctly. That's good. We're getting that one, which is what I wanted. Okay. So now let's start making this a little bit better, because we're getting some weird kind of, like, the results are not really matching, and we got some stuff hard coded. So first, let's just go in and be able to pass in a query, because we don't want to have this hard coded. So let's just call this event. And then since I have this as an event, I can say const query, because I know that's what it's going to be called, and just say event.query string parameters. All right. And then in here, I'm going to actually pass in the query as well, which is going to fail for now because I need to put it in here. So let's put it in both. So the query is going to be a string. And then here, we're just going to say query. All right. We're also going to do the same for here. Wait, something's not right here. Is it query equals query? Yeah, and then this one, okay, that one just comes in at the end. Right, all right, okay, cool. All right, so, all right. Oh yeah, I need to put it here. String. Okay. So now we should be able to pass in the actual query instead of having it hard-coded if I didn't mess that up. So with that being said, we have the query here. Let's just put any, oops, put any for now. Get that to stop complaining. And then now we have the query. So now if we run this on the local one, we can actually add in some parameters. Let's put query and let's put inception. All right. So let's see if that works. Just hide that so we get more room. Good. So we're getting some results. So the query is working. We're going to pass in the query string. All right. So now let's make this even better. Let's go ahead and go to GetMovies and let's create a main GetMovies that we can decide which one to call. So export get movies, and then it's going to be async as well. And then we're going to say, it's going to be the same setup as this. Async. All right. Get movies. Why is this complaining? Because I'm not using anything. Right. So export get movies, and in here we want to. This is where we want to use the parameter store again. So, because I have the params in here, so I can say if params dot, wait a minute, so not here, let's just go ahead and change something here, and let's say export all params. Probably not the best name, but at least it's going to give me IntelliSense. Let's actually do this. Equals per type all params equals, we're going to have the API type. It's going to be a string, and then we're also going to say it could be a iparams, and also the other iparams, which is here. Okay. So now if I go to here, I can say this can be all params. Import that. Okay. And then we have the query as a string. So if params dot API type equals param names dot oh, I didn't even put those there, so I'm just gonna hard code this for now. So if it equals MovieDB, then actually we can say this. We don't even need, let's just say this. I'm trying to get this right. Return, let's do a ternary operator. So if that equals that, then we're going to await and then say get MovieDB. And then we're going to pass in the params and the query. Else, await get the other movies. All right, pass in the params and the query. What is it complaining about? Oh yeah, I need to wrap that fully. Okay, so what is this? Export cannot find name get movies. What you mean? Oh, const. Like, what is going on? All right, so we have we can get rid of this because we're not using it right now. All right. So what are we saying here? We're going to have a get movies, and then here we're going to go in and decide which one we want to do. If the API type is MovieDB, then we're going to get the MovieDBs. And if it's not MovieDB, we're going to assume that it's the Rapid API, and we'll get that one. We can probably do something better, like a factory pattern, some kind of way, some kind of thing. But I'm not going to get that far into it. Like, there's no need for that right now. Just want to keep it as simple as possible. So we have to get movies here. And then, so now if I do that, I can delete that and just say get movies, right? And I can get rid of this stuff. All right. So now, if I were to run this, Hopefully I didn't break it, and I did. Of course I did. So get movies, params, and then the query. There's a query right there. Then we go into this get movies. And then you have the params again, and then you have the query, which is a string. And then you're saying that params.api type is equal to MovieDB. Then we're going to say await GetMoviesDB params and query. Else await GetMovies Rapid API params and query, which both of those should be passed down. Don't really see why this wouldn't work. Right, let's just check something really quick. Just so we can see if it's like fell in here, kind of pinpoint to what's going on. All right, it's gonna take a while to catch up. So that was fine. So why did this fail? Does it not like API type? Well, which one worked? GetMoviesDB work. So let's just make them both GetMoviesDB for now. Just to see if it's something wrong with the Rapid API, because it could be that. So that is still working. So it makes me feel like there's something wrong with the Rapid API. So we have the, oh, you know what? It's probably did something wrong with this query. It's probably something I did wrong there, because all this stuff was fine before. So let's just go put that back, and let's look at the URL. Maybe I have the URL wrong. Search, and then query, which is that, and that's the URL. And then method is get Rapid API host, Rapid API key, and content type application JSON. And then we're returning the data, which, I mean, that should be fine, but it is set to Rapid API. So it's trying to go to this one. So what's wrong with the Rapid API? No, it's working. What the, I don't know. That's what happens sometimes. You be coding, you just start coding and stuff don't work, and then you swear you write the exact same code and then it works. Mind blown. But okay, so that's good. So what I do not like is the fact that they're like different. I just want to return like the title and the ID. But before I do that, let me actually prove to you that we can control this from here. So let's just edit this, and let's just call this MovieDB. I think that's what I called it. Save it, and now run it. Does it take a while to update? Why? Oh wow, I'm so intelligent. I was on the pretty sure somebody noticed that. I was thinking it was working, and it probably hasn't been working because I was on the wrong one. I wasn't even on the local one. Wow. Yeah. I don't know what just happened there, but okay. So this is the MovieDB one because it has more information. So now let's just change this again. And let's change this to anything other than MovieDB because it's not really checking anything else. Just say Rapid API. Could just put R if I wanted to. Still would have did the same thing. So it doesn't like the Rapid API. There's something definitely wrong with the Rapid API. Let's just copy this again. This is the Rapid API one. So there's really something wrong with that one because the other ones are working fine. So let's see. So I have my options. Async parameters, I have that. Xrapid. I'm pretty sure I tested this already. At least I felt like I did. Let's just take out this. Let's just put something, whatever, anything. And let's just see if it returns a result. And if so, then there's something wrong with the formatting when we added in the query, which it did. So what isn't it not liking about the query? It's very weird that it doesn't want to work because this really should work. Okay, let's try this again. What? Did I do something different? I just not refresh yet. That is so confusing. All right. Yeah, it seems to be working, but what was different? I don't know what was different. Okay, so another thing I want to change is, it could be just maybe the server was down. That could be true because there's some free API thing that I'm using. I don't know. But it seems to be working now. So what I want to do is actually write a mapper so I can have these results look the same. All right. So I want to go get movies and I'm going to do a mapper. Mapper equals, this doesn't need to be async. I do need to pass in some results here. And then just say return results dot, let's do, I should really create types for all of this, but it just takes too long to do this right now. Results dot map. Okay. And I want to get the title and the ID. So I can say this. I should do the ID in the title. I can actually clean that up some. I don't even need this. All right. So now that I have that mapper, I can go in and pass this to my mapper. So I can say, I don't want to make this completely hard to read. Let's just say const results equals, let's just bring this up some. And then here I'm going to say return mapper and then results dot. So for this, if I had IntelliSense right now, this would be way easier. So this is the MovieDB one. And the MovieDB returns something called results actually. So I don't want to say results.results. So let's just say response, even though I already used it over there, but it's not the same response. So response.results. Okay. And then here, I want to do something similar. Let's just say response and then return response dot, what do we have here for the response for this? So with titles, so response dot titles, and I need to return. So now when it does that, actually I need to do the mapper. So now I have the mapper for that one, and then I have the mapper for that one, and then both of these come up in here, and then it maps to the ID and the title. So let's see if that works. All right, so go back to localhost. Let's see, hopefully I didn't break it. Okay, that's good. So this is the movie's Lambda. Well, I don't even worry about that. So let's do one more thing and get rid of this whole movies Lambda thing, because I don't really like it anyway. So let's actually return. Let's just build everything from here. Oops. So just say results. It's going to equal that. And then we're going to say API type is going to be, we need to get these params in here. So let's just say, and the mapper, we're going to take the results. We're also going to take a API type. We're going to put that as a string. Okay. All right. So that will return an API type, and then that, but we need to update this to pass that in. So let's say mapper. So we have mapper here, right? Not mapper, params dot API type. So I'm gonna have to actually add that to my thing here. Let's just do, go in here. It's getting pretty sloppy now. API type string. All right, so now that we have that, we're able to pass in the params. Where am I at? So get movies. So here we're saying params.api type. And then, so now we have access to that. We can do the same thing here. Okay. So now if we run this, oh, let's get rid of this message, this movie is Lambda thing, because I don't like that. Just get rid of that, get rid of that. Okay. And now we know that this is using the Rapid API. And if you want to go in and say, okay, you know what? We don't want to use that API anymore. We want to use the MovieDB one. Okay, so just go ahead and change this. And then if we run it again, you know how long it takes to update. Yeah, so it changed to MovieDB. And then you have this. So that's pretty much it. And then now you can just, you know, test different things by using the different APIs, but it's all wrapped inside of one Lambda. Okay, so that's going to be the end of this video, and I know it was a lot of code, and I'm going to do a part 4 and then discuss how to push this code up to the AWS server, because trying to push this to the AWS server to be able to use these to be able to use the parameter store, you have to do some different settings and create like some roles and stuff, and it's not hard, but if you don't know how to do it, then you just like don't know how to do it. So I will definitely go do that and explain it. And yeah, that's the end of it. So we build a Lambda, and we were able to use it with 2 different APIs as a wrapper. And just so if you want to think more about this, think of it as like if you had like an API endpoint that you have to create, and maybe it's doing like maps, and you have like Google Maps, and you have like Bing Maps, and you have like whatever other maps are out there. And like you decide one day, I don't want to use Bing, I want to use Google. And then one day you don't want to use Google, you want to use something else. Of course, you have to write all of the backend stuff to get everything to work. But once you have it up and running, you can just flip it out whenever you want. And then it's also on the Lambda, so you don't have to worry about managing the server because it's all managed for you. All right. So it's going to be the end of this tutorial. And if you're liking these videos, please go ahead and subscribe. And do not forget to hit that bell to get those notifications. And until next time, peace out.